Your .NET API is probably returning the wrong error code. A 500 internal server error for a simple product not found exception is a bug, not a feature. In this video, I'll show you how to build a rock solid error handling middleware from scratch. So your API can stop crashing and start communicating clearly. Let's get started. You have just developed your shiny new .NET Web API. It works perfectly on your machine. You push it to the production, and then the dreaded emails and support tickets start pouring in. The error reports are vague. The checkout page is broken, I can't update my profile, and you are left with scrambling through the logs and trying to figure out what went wrong. The root cause? You have only coded for happy path. You assume the data coming from into your API would always be perfect. In this video, we are going to change that. We'll cover why happy path API is fragile liability, how to use try catch to prevent your API from crashing and burning, and the professional technique that will make your API rock solid. Creating and using custom exception middleware to give a clear, actionable feedback to your users and dramatically reduce your support tickets. Let's start coding. Let's imagine we are building a simple e-commerce API. We need an endpoint to process a new order. It takes a product ID and quantity. Here is a very basic happy path version of our controller. This will take a product ID and quantity, and then it look for the inventory. If it find the product and check for the quantity, it has enough quantity, then just send some message, it's processed, or else throw an error, not enough stock, not enough in stock. Okay, let's test this. Let's call this API. So our orders API in the submit method, I'm calling with product ID is laptop 123. Let's call the laptop 123 and quantity 1. Let's see. So it's a success case. We have that product laptop 123, and we got a success message saying that order for one laptop in one of laptop 123 processed successfully. It's a happy path, and then we got a result. However, real world data is messy. What happens if the front end sends a product ID that doesn't exist or a quantity of 0? Let's say let's send a product name, product ID is 1234, and see the result. It's throwing an error. This is terrible for three reasons. It crashes the request. The user just sees the generic error. He cannot identify what went wrong and how can he fix this. And it's a security risk as well. We can see the details, file paths and variable names in the stack trace. And it creates a support tickets also. The user reports it as a broken app, and you have to dig through the logs to find out this key not found exception. And let's try sending a quantity 0 for existing, for available product. Huh. Another crash. This API looks too fragile. It's time to add our first layer of armor. Look at this. Now we wrap all our code with try catch blocks, and we are catching the key not found exception and returning the 404 not found exception with the clear details. And for quantity 0, we are catching with the divide by 0 exception here and sending the bad request errors. For all other exceptions, we are sending the 500 errors, but without leaking the details. This is a massive improvement. No more crashes and no more stack traces leaked to the user. The client gets a clear machine readable JSON errors. However, our controllers are get bloated. The business rules are mixed with HTTP handling. We can do better. Key not found exception is a technical error, but not enough in stock isn't a technical failure. It's a business rule violation. Our code should reflect that. We'll do two things: create own custom exception types for our business rules and create a global error handling middleware to keep our controllers in clean. So first, let's define our custom exceptions. So let's start it with our base API exception. So I have created a base API exception class, which has a status code and base exception constructor. So we can pass the status code, whether it's a 400, 404 or 500, whatever it is, when we are creating our custom exceptions. So let's start with the product not found exception. So for the product not found exception, we can create our own custom exception, product not found, which will derive from the base API exception. And we can pass the string, whatever is the message we want to pass, we can pass. And it is a 404. We are passing the status code as 404. And let's define another thing, another exception called insufficient stock exception. Same way how we define the product not found exception, we can define the insufficient stock exception. And let's write our service. It's always recommended, a good practice to write all our business codes in the service classes, not in the controllers. So let's define a method called process order. Here, what we are doing, we are looking for the product in the inventory. If it is found, it a good case. If it is not found, then we are throwing a product not found exception with a clear error message. Product with ID was not found. Similarly, we are looking for the quantity. If it is less than 0, then it's the argument exception. We are throwing the argument exception error. And quantity, we are looking for the quantity, whether the quantity is available in the stock or not. If it is available, then we'll process the request, or else we'll throw insufficient stock exception. And now let's see how to handle these exceptions globally. For that, we need to write a middleware. So error handling middleware. Here what we are doing is, in the handling exception async method, we are checking the exception thrown. Exception thrown is a type of a base API exception or not. If such type, then get the status code from the API exception and message also from the same exception. If not, then throw the 500 internal server error, but with very minimal details. We are not passing in, we are not allowing to send the stack details and all. Now let's call our API. Let's see our controller. Actually, I added one more controller called v3 submit. Let's call this API. Now let's see. I created one more version called v3. Let's see. Okay, we'll pass a invalid case, invalid product ID. So if you see, it sends a clear error message, with the 404 error status code and with product ID. What we are passing with a clear error, I mean, product ID with laptop 1234 was not found. And let's send the quantity, which is more than available quantity. Let's just send 15. Oh, yeah. Let's pass the valid case for product ID. So now the error message is very clear. Not enough stock for laptop 123 and request ID. When requested is 15 and available is 4. So now for user, it's very clear actually what went wrong and what he needs to update. So this leads to no support ticket. Why? Because user has enough information to understand this error. So there you have it, a clean, scalable and professional way to handle errors in your API. You have got from code that crashes to code that communicates. Thank you for watching, and go build something unbreakable.